Beware of False Prophets. Mixed Media by Bethany L. Molino. Hi, my name is Bethany, and I am recording my creative process and my thinking about a very tender, difficult topic, and that kind of encapsulates a difficult part of my life that has ripple effects into my present day. And I'm greeting you and I'm saying hello to you from a very fixed, I'm wearing makeup, I have some lip gloss on, my hair is down, I'm wearing a dress today, very much looking the part, looking as good as I look. This is kind of like the facade version of me. So I'm starting out that way, but as this journey continues, you're probably going to see a lot of different parts. I want to start by telling you I'm wearing a pulse oximeter, and it probably looks kind of strange on your end. Right now, it's taking my pulse. Right now, my pulse is 104 beats a minute. And what I know about this is that, so this is my pulse oximeter, and around it on the outside, I have what the different numbers mean. So calm is anywhere below 90. 91 to 100 is alert. So, when I'm teaching in the classroom or when I'm driving, alert is good. And then 101 to 110 is alarm. 111 to 135 is fear. And then anything over 136 is terror. So I want to kind of keep track of what my heart monitor is doing, because I can portray peaceful and pleasant and kind and friendly. Meanwhile, inside my body, my thoughts are racing, my heart is beating, and I'm not actually doing as well as I can appear to be. So with this journey, I'm going to be talking about my mental health. I have a diagnosis of PTSD from a childhood experience. My family was part of a cult from fifth grade to 10th grade. And so I like to call those the really nice formative years. Not like there was ever a good time to be a part of a cult. So that's roughly 11 years to 11 years to 16. Yeah, I remember April, my birthday's in April. I remember turning 16 was pretty much my worst birthday. And interestingly enough, I'm down to 96. Oh, I want to show you now it's up to 103. Is that crazy? Seriously, 105. Ugh. So anyway, I welcome you to join me on this journey. It's going to be a tough one, but I want to be transparent about it. I want to kind of explain my thinking, tell some stories. I have a lot of memorabilia, things from my childhood, and I'm going to kind of present it as if this was an archaeological dig, and I was finding artifacts from my childhood, and I'm going to put them together in a creative way. At least two of my other pieces of artwork are about repurposing and taking things that were previously painful and kind of going through the process. And as I document them, I feel like I'm able to kind of birth some of that pain, and it kind of has brought some healing for me. So perhaps some of these things that I'm going to show or talk about might resonate with you. And I really don't know where this journey is going to go, but I welcome you along for the ride. Down to 97. The artwork itself. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7:15. On the November 25th, 2020 Unlocking Us podcast, Brene Brown interviewed Priya Parker, author of The Art of Gathering. The following is an excerpt of what Priya Parker shared during the podcast. I think a huge part of what I've seen is that our connection is often most threatened by unhealthy peace. At least this has been true in my experience, than by unhealthy conflict. We're so afraid of everything melting down by fighting with each other that it ends up just kind of petering out. So unhealthy peace is an inability or a refusal to see, to name, to engage with the fracture in front of you. It's really hard with families, and I think particularly in this time, and I think there's probably studies on this. It feels like it's gotten harder and harder over the last 4 years, and people drawing back into their own camps. And I relate to this. I have family members who have had very complicated conversations with and sometimes define boundaries in order to preserve the connection to actually not talk about religion, not talk about politics. The Gift and Power of Emotional Courage was Susan David's November 2017 TED Talk. She shares, research on emotional suppression shows that when emotions are pushed aside or ignored, they get stronger. Psychologists call this amplification, like that delicious chocolate cake in the refrigerator. The more you try to ignore it, the greater its hold on you. You might think you're in control of unwanted emotions when you ignore them, but in fact, they control you. Internal pain always comes out, always. And who pays the price? We do. Our children, our colleagues, our communities. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-happiness. I like being happy. I'm a pretty happy person. But when we push aside normal emotions to embrace false positivity, we lose our captivity to develop skills to deal with the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. I've had hundreds of people tell me that they don't want to feel. They say things like, I don't want to try because I don't want to feel disappointed, or I just want this feeling to go away. I understand, I say to them, but you have dead people's goals. Only dead people never get unwanted or inconvenienced by their feelings. Only dead people never get stressed, never get broken hearts, never experience the disappointment that comes with failure. Tough emotions are part of our contract with life. You don't get to have a meaningful career or raise a family or leave the world a better place without stress and discomfort. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Susan David closes her TED Talk with, "When I was little, I would wake up at night terrified by the idea of death. My father would comfort me with soft pats and kisses, but he would never lie. 'We all die, Susie,' he would say. 'It's normal to be scared.' He didn't try to invent a buffer between me and reality. It took me a while to understand the power of how he guided me through those nights. What he showed me is that courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. Neither of us knew that in 10 short years he would be gone. And that time for each of us is all too precious and all too brief. But when our moment comes to face our fragility, in that ultimate time, it will ask us, are you agile? Are you agile? Let the moment be an unreserved yes, a yes born of a lifelong correspondence with your own heart, and in seeing yourself, because in seeing yourself, you are also able to see others too. The only sustainable way forward in a fragile, beautiful world." "Everything happens for a reason, and other lies I've loved," was Kate Bowler's December 2018 TED Talk. She concludes it with, "Life will break your heart, and life may take everything you have and everything you hope for. But there is one kind of prosperity gospel that I believe in. I believe that in the darkness, even there will be beauty, and there will be love, and every now and then, it will feel like more than enough." All right, so back with a few more treasures. Right now, checking in, my heart rate is at 107, and I don't feel bad right now, but that's actually kind of the scary thing, because 101 to 110 is alarm, and so if my body feels like this and I feel okay, my system is kind of going through a lot, so it's a good time to take a few breaths and see if I can lower it down. Even knowing I'm on camera kind of makes me nervous. That's what a few breaths will do. All right, so this is a piece that I believe my mom painted. It has 1979 on the back and K for Kathy. And I like how the blanket matches my blanket that I have, my blankie. I have no idea where this came from. Tinkerbell. I thought this was the coolest thing. It's Echo. In its original case, of course. This little teacup, it actually might have been my mom's. I'm not sure, but I think the bright pink might look nice. A Hello Kitty stamp. I had a set, there were like other ones. And I'm pretty sure this ring, I think I got this in Seattle whenever I was visiting my uncle. And this one has frogs. And then my uncle got me this container. And so in here, I have some more treasures. I think I got this one in college in Philly on South Street is my guess. I don't know where this butterfly came from, but it was with all those other things. I always loved turquoise. And the first movie I ever saw in a theater was Annie. And so this is like a replica of her locket that Daddy Warbucks gave her. And lastly, I just want to speak to the rainbow on here. I love rainbows growing up, and I remember getting a shirt that had rainbow colors on it. It didn't have like the arc of the rainbow, but I remember in 8th grade consciously deciding to stop wearing it because I didn't want my classmates to think that I was gay because I didn't have a boyfriend and I wasn't dating anybody. So that was just like a ridiculous thing to do, but that's what I did. So I stopped wearing rainbows. These are, this is jewelry from my grandmother. She passed away a number of years ago, and she had clip earrings. And so these are some of her earrings, and I think they're gonna make really lovely pieces. I always love these. I never saw her wear these, but I remember being envious of them. And apparently there's like, I didn't realize there were actually sets of these, that there's like a purple, a green, and an orange, which are complementary colors for those that might be curious. So I'm gonna see what I remember these ones. I'm gonna see what I can do with these, and if these might make little lovely pieces that I can add in to my project as like little treasures. I remember this bracelet. She loved wearing bracelets. And these, I remember some of these patterns. I'm guessing these hot air balloons, they probably came from Uncle Michael as a gift to her. And then I'm gonna use resin to put this turquoise into ring shapes. So I'm excited to see what it'll come up with. Stay tuned. This book was always in our bookshelf. Even little children can understand great truths when told to them in simple words. And when pictures are added, doubly indelible impressions are made that can last forever. No other book has changed so many lives so remarkably as the Bible. God's word can be a source of light to childhood's earliest pathways if carefully presented. It can be a rock to build a life on, even when that life is very small. Give us a child until he is 5 years old, some say, and his character will be formed forever. It is incredibly important to begin direct Bible training at the earliest possible age, in addition to the influences surrounding the child from earliest days in a Christ-honoring home. This book can be read to children of approximate ages 3.5 to 6 with great profit. Children that age can understand with simple trust and great doctrines, can understand with simple trust the great doctrines of God and his dealings with mankind. With simple trust, they can accept and always believe what hardened older minds find difficult. It is the hope of author and publisher that this book will be a means of establishing little minds in truths from which nothing that will ever happen in the years ahead can shake them, because their trust will be in the living God and his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Then this one, this is a self-portrait. Again, so senior year of high school, and I'm struggling with body image. And again, this is all like fat globules here. My eyes are red. I have tears. There's a heart that's protected with barbed wire. There's a question mark. Someone has I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's not knowing someone. And then there's a bunch of words written around the outside that I've crossed out. So I'm not quite sure what that's about, but it's a pretty interesting piece, certainly. Here's more hearts. Heart that's all walled off, more tears. This is a cross stitch that my mom made. It says, "Thank you, Lord, for this dear child, Bethany Louise, April 10th, 1979. This is a sketchbook from, I believe, my freshman year. Yeah, it's my freshman year in college. I was at Penn State, Altoona. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is me my jammies and robe at our house on Orchard Street. I'm sitting on the register where the heat comes up, so it's nice and snuggy. And I have our Fisher Price train. I start out again like with this theme of basically what I now know is pretty much shame. So again, like I have like the fat chunks and the tears and the heart is here. And at that point I had a 3.85 and I wasn't sure if my GPA was gonna go up or go down. The precious part about this whole thing and why I kept it is because down here at the bottom left, she says red face equals don't worry, this too shall pass. And I remember I would just get so nervous and my face would get so red and blotchy. And it's something that I sometimes still struggle with. But I can always remember back to her writing that on my paper. Then I found my fire safety book. This is definitely from elementary school. I'm guessing maybe first or second grade. Didn't know the Keebler elves were also firefighters. No idea where that came from. So my mom and I, as well as sewing the buttons, we used to bake cookies a lot. These are chocolate crinkles. It's one of my family's favorite recipes. We'd also bake bread and things like that. This was from college. This is a self-portrait I took, and it was a reflection on one of the buildings. I think it was actually in City Hall in Philly. And then this was a portrait I took in my room, again at school. And then I have a picture of myself. I was the flower girl at my Aunt Marilyn's wedding. And so this is a picture of me from then. In my house growing up on Orchard Street, this was the disgusting wallpaper in the basement. Purple flowers, blue flowers, yellow flowers. And one of my first earliest art making memories I have is sitting on the toilet in the basement. And you can probably see there, I used a crayon and I colored a little bit of the red on the blue because I wanted to know what color that made. A little bit on the yellow, a little bit on the green, and a little bit on the brown. So here I am, young enough to be curious about things, but with the self-control to not scribble on the whole wall. And so that's one of my earliest kind of curious memories. And when I was in college, I remember doing it. And so I took a picture of it, which is a good thing because I am sure that this is long gone. Lastly, these are the meds that I take every day. This is Lamictal, this is Zoloft, and this last one is Wellbutrin. I take Wellbutrin in the morning and then the others in the evening. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And feel free to stick around if you'd like to see the rest of the process.